Completely live.
I call this 4. I know. Oh, you start the countdown. I got 4, 3, 2.
What is up, y'all? This is Coach Jay coming live to you at fourth period State P Stats.
Yes!
If you are a Sweden follower, welcome everybody. All of you from Sweden that follow me, it's good to see you. I do not have a great voice today, so if you are from Sweden, my apologies. I'll try to get a better one to you later, I guess. Here we go. We're going to get started. 4.2 day 1 is what our focus is, and we're going to get going. If you are missing because of senior lunch, this is really for you, and so I care about you, so that's why we're getting started here. All right, so let's go real quick. We're going to go down into 4.2 day 1. We're going to go right straight into this section. Okay, so the question that we're going to hit here, come on now. Erase it. There we are. Okay, so last year this school offered this SAT prep program, and so we're asking whether this situation would be observational or experimental. And so, is there something issue? Oh, it's frozen. Oh, there we are. There we are. Good. All right, so now we're here. Question, is it observational or experimental? We'll keep standing, so if you got it, and if I give it to you, I'll just give tickets as we go. So if you stand up and I say, yeah, it's a great job, just see me afterwards, okay? Come on, Grant.
Okay, I think it's experimental, and the reason I say that is because it has a control variable, an explanatory variable, and a responsive variable.
Okay, so you say it is,
I think it's an experiment.
okay, I'm going to do this just so that our peeps can see us here. All right. Boom, boom. Let's see if I can exit out of that thing. Okay, so you say it's experimental. And why is that?
Because it has an explanatory variable, a response variable, and a control variable.
Okay, disagree or agree?
Probably.
Okay.
Caroline, come on.
I disagree. I said it's observational.
Okay.
Because they were merely just looking at scores of people took it versus didn't. It's not like they tried something and then changed something and looked at the result.
Ooh, I like it. So it was more like I watched it, right? I just watched it. So the scores, we just watched the scores. And I know I'm using the same word this is not probably a good thing, but we observed it, right? We just watched what was going on. Good. Okay, come on, Abe.
I agree with Grant that yes, it is experimental.
Okay.
Because they actually did put them through something. They offered a class.
Okay.
And then the change from that class resulted in them getting an average score of 1220, as compared to the original score
That's good.
of 1050.
Okay, so here's what I'll say. Here's the thing. Caroline is actually right. That's right.
Whatever, man.
All right, here we go, right up here. Give me 2 claps. Give me 2 claps real quick. Hey, y'all got to be better because we're on a podcast. Plus, I can't talk over y'all, okay? So help me out. So once we're here, okay? If you say, oh, that's it, like 2 seconds, and then it's not like, don't diss their mom or whatever, okay? Just get right straight to it. Okay, so this is observational. However, it could be experimental. Here's why. It's observational because of what Caroline said. Do I have 2 things going on? Yes, okay? The difference, though, is because the students are not forced to take the course. So we're just letting whoever choose. Did I randomly assign them into groups? No. So even though I have 2 things and I compared, which Abe, you're actually right, you're going to head that way towards where we're headed here. We just allowed students to take whatever course. So we allowed students to take the course, whatever course that was, okay? All right, so what's the explanatory and response? By the way, if you stood up, I got a ticket for you at the end. Just come and see me. What is the explanatory and response? Come on, let's go, Harrison.
The explanatory is whether a student took the class or not.
Nice.
And then the response is the SAT scores.
So what class they took, response is SAT scores. Good work. Good. So can I use this, right? Is everyone good on the first two questions?
Yes.
We're good? Okay, cool. I think this is the third question, so that's where we're headed here. Let me see. Try to clear that out. Okay, can we conclude that taking the prep course will cause, that's the key word, a student's SAT score to increase? Why or why not?
No.
Why?
More information is needed to see, like, you look at variability, you can see the range, you can see
It's good.
the average change in each person.
Yeah, so there's more information needed. This is true. Keep going, Jackson.
To add on to what he said, the people who would take that class is not always an accurate representation of everyone who takes the SAT. So while the people who take that class, the sample is different from the entire population.
Nice.
Because it's just the specific people who signed up to take the class instead of a random sample of the population. That's accurate.
It's good. I like this. This is good, Harrison. Come on, keep going, man.
You can't say it'll cause the student's score to increase because some people might not be paying attention, or
Yeah.
some people might not, put in as much effort as others. So you can't say it's going to cause that.
Yeah, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put this down here. Harrison's exactly right. So identify as many possible variables that may explain why the SAT scores were higher. So this could be attentiveness or lack thereof. Okay. What other things could cause this other than just the course itself?
I don't know, this may be completely off, but like I feel like if you're gonna take the class, that's like the smart thing to do. So if you're that type of person, you might already score high enough anyway.
So diligent students will do what?
Take the class.
Yeah, diligent students take the class.
Parenting, like parents,
Yeah.
force their kids to take it.
Ooh, parents. Does parental support increase grades, or is that a cause of that could cause those grades to increase? Parental support, come on.
Well, like it also is like along with the diligent students thing. Like if you did an experimental and like had a like certain amount of students like made them take the class, like depending on what type of student they are, they might just not take it.
Yeah, that's really good.
You can't cause.
So students may not show up. That's good. Okay, so students may not show up.
Personal benchmarks. So like some,
Ooh, it's good.
students want to
Good
go
job,
to
Bill.
certain colleges, so they're trying to get higher scores.
Yeah, personal benchmarks. So would the smarter students probably take the course?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? Okay, so let me go back to the top before we go to this last one, which is number 5, okay? Y'all are rocking, by the way. Thank you. Y'all are making this podcast awesome. Okay, so when we look at cause, observational cannot cause. You want to put that down. Observational cannot cause. This was in the last chapter, was it not? We said this already. It's not causation, right? Correlation is observational. It correlates, okay? I get that. But cause, right, comes not from observational. And you say, why is that, coach? If you go back to number 1, okay? The difference between observational and experimental is observational. You do not impose a treatment. Do not impose a treatment. An experiment, do you? You do that in an experiment? Yes, that's the difference. When I come in and I say, okay, half of you will be doing this, half of you will be doing this, and I put you in a group and I give you one thing compared to another, now that's experimental. Observational is me just chilling and saying, okay, I see these, I see the grades over here, I see the grades over here. I'm not imposing any treatment on anybody as the person that's doing the study. Great, go ahead, man.
So,
You got it, you're
so
good.
like experimental, that's intentional. Is that like a good way to think of it? So like
It's good.
you're purposely trying to get those two different variables and evaluate them.
That's like
It's good.
hands-on, like direct.
Like, yeah.
Yep. And that's why that's why experimental, why do they do that in science? Why don't they do observational studies? Because I can't have any cause and effect on that, right? Whereas I just say it correlates, but there's a lot of things that are there. You already told me there's a lot of variables that are out there, right? That could cause this. I think Harrison started us off with a really good one, and then we just went from there. These variables are called, there's a word for it, confounding. Very important word, confounding variables. These are things that are outside the realm of the study that will skew the data. Okay? Skew the data. Remember I talked about things like race, things like the sex that you are, where you came from, socioeconomic status, who your parents are. We could go on and on and on and on. All of those things contribute to confounding variables. And when you're observational and you're just chilling and watching, that's why I can't have a cause and effect. Okay? It's actually very fascinating. All right? Very fascinating. So if I was to go into an experimental study, what's the difference? The difference is we assign. So how do we control these confounding variables to actually have causation or cause and effect? I don't have my Holy Grail, but how can I get the Holy Grail where we can infer things using that? Well, we control confounding variables with one thing. It's called this, okay? Random assignment. Random assignment, okay? All right? Very good. I probably should spell that out on the podcast. Sorry. Sometimes I do that just to see if you're paying attention. All right.
I wasn't gonna say anything.
We should get shirts with that on there. Random.
You're gonna be a confounding assignment.
That's exactly right. This is good. Random assignment. Never mind. I had something I shouldn't say. All right, so let's keep going. Especially on a podcast, that'd probably be bad.
In Swedish.
This is true. And Sweden. I don't want to offend y'all. Okay. How do we design an experiment? Here's how I approach this, okay? I start off by doing a diagram, and then I talk about it. I love visuals. I'm a visual person. So here's how we do this, okay? How many students do we have?
44. That's me.
Oh, hold up. Oh, it doesn't tell you overall.
How many took the class?
Let's make it easy. Let's go 100. 100, okay? We have 100 juniors. Okay? 100 juniors. Really want to dial in here. This part's a little, it's like the last section, but it's very, very important. 100 juniors, if we're doing an observational study, we just watch, right? They pick the course. They put themselves in the two courses, but that's not experimental, right? So we have to do something. So you say, Coach, what do we do? How do we do this? We do this, okay? All right? I am so monotone. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to express and I can't. All right. So this is going to be where we take them and we randomly do what? Randomly? What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. If you said ask, don't say that.
I was about to have two math teachers.
Don't say that, okay? Unless it's the Bible. If it's the Bible, it's okay.
I was gonna have my son and
I'm sorry. Please don't erase that part. Okay, so we're then going to go two ways. We're then going to put 50 into one group. So we're going to put this as group 1, and this is going to be 50 into group 2. Okay? Half and half. We're then going to give one group what?
SAT prep.
Yep, SAT prep course.
Turners.
And the second one is regular class, right? Is that good? Or no SAT, so we'll just say normal.
We're gonna say parties at Chuck E. Cheese every week.
This is true. That's fine.
Extra game token.
This is good. I don't know how that compares, but we're good. So once we've done that, the last thing, very important, we got to come in and we then come together, and this is where we compare. Compare what? We compare scores, okay? Now, question. Do we still have confounding variables here?
Yes.
Confounding variables are what impact the end. So, MB, if I just observe something, right, and I just looked at, scores overall, there are so many confounding variables that go into why certain scores could be higher than another, right? However, in experimental, confounding variables can't ever be eliminated, but they are controlled, and we can overlook confounding variables in experimental because of what?
Random assignment.
Can someone explain that to me? Why does random assignment allow me to overlook confounding variables affecting the data compared to observational?
Because there's no selectivity in the process. There's no confounding variables that create a bias towards one group.
Ooh, I like that. Good, Sam. Good. Anything else?
Wait, wouldn't there still be confounding variables though?
There would be, no, 100%.
They're not creating a bias.
But the random assignment balances those confounding variables out. This thing called random, is it possible to have all 50 individuals that are of higher socioeconomic status in one group? Yes. However, with random assignment, it's very unlikely. So here's the problem. If you eliminate random assignment and allow people to choose, the people that are more diligent are going to choose what? And therefore will have higher scores than those that are down here. Y'all follow me on that? But when I include random assignment, I balance out those confounding variables where people of different backgrounds or whatever are put in one group compared to the other, and I'm able to now use causation.
But you still but wouldn't even with that you'd still have people that aren't paying attention even if they are in the class.
100%. You would have it in both, would you not?
Yes.
But it's better and it's allowing me to use causation because now it's balanced out rather than them just choosing. The random assignment allows me to go from one to the next. It's kind of like in Vegas when they know they're going to take losses, but when over the course of time, the higher this sample size is, this is like n equals 100. But if I used n equals 1,000, like let's say I really want to be sure of causation, and I've got 500 in one, 500 in another, it's going to sway a little, but it's going to even out over the course of time. That's the power of random, right? So if you were to, getting too much maybe in depth in this, if this makes sense. So like if I have a 6-sided die, I could roll it 10 times and get 6 8 times, right? Does that mean that 6 has a 80% probability of being rolled? No, but because it's random, if I did it 1,000 times, it is going to shift back and forth, but it's going to approach the true probability the higher the sample size. Does that make sense? It's kind of crazy. Like the way God created that is pretty phenomenal. If you think about it, that random is actually not random, and that we're actually creatures of habit, creatures of pattern. That yes, it's random, but it will ultimately approach the true value the higher the sample size. It's, I don't know. Fascinating, man. Fascinating. Cool. All right, does that make sense? We're good? Okay. We get out of 30, right?
Yes.
All right, my favorite part, your favorite part. Oh, hold up real quick. I know, I'm sorry. Look at the red part, okay? All right, one other thing. Know how to talk about this, okay? You say, Coach, what do you mean? If you give just the red part, they won't give you any credit. But this helps you to write about it. So what does that look like? You would say, I take 100 juniors from such and such high school. I randomly assign them into 2 groups of size 50. One group gets by the way, this is called a treatment. When I impose a treatment. So one group had a treatment imposed on them of taking the SAT prep course, while group 2 just took a normal class, okay? Does anyone know what the normal class is called?
CP.
There is none. It was an elective.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, at our school it's an elective.
What do you call this like in science?
The
Control group. Yeah, this is called a control group, where it's really compared to the treatment that's up here. Y'all follow that? Okay. It's kind of like science and biology if you've done that a little bit. And then afterwards we, used a certain period of time, a year or 6 months, and then afterwards we compared the scores between the 2 groups. Okay? Do you see how I talked about it? Can y'all do that? Does that feel okay? Okay, cool. Does anyone not feel good about that? Okay, cool. Feel Gucci?
I think I'm Gucci.
Okay.
I don't even have time for them.
All right, here's our golden nugget. My favorite part, your favorite part?
You changed it to a nugget.
I did. I've got a nugget on there. It's good.
It's not a gold bar anymore.
I actually took a picture at my house of it and was like,
Oh wow, you're rich, I guess, huh? Got a bunch of gold nuggets just laying around.
That was actually the joke, Harrison. Now
Yeah.
we'll get on to the golden nugget. I think Coach Jay has something very
Actually, that was
important to tell us.
the point.
actually, you're just writing it down. Actually, that's it.
That's pyrite. It's pyrite.
No treatment, so we only observe. Okay?
You know
Good
what's
question.
Pyrite?
It looks like pyrite.
Yeah, gold looks like pyrite, and pyrite looks like gold.
What? Isn't that like someone who like really likes to set stuff on fire? Pyrite?
Oh yeah, pyrite. Get it? Because it sounds like a pyromaniac.
Or no, I was talking about a pirate.
Oh, you're talking about a pirate?
Oh no, that's the one. Yeah.
What
do we do with the jump? Did he say no? What do we do?
Yeah, you kissed him broken. Don't say that.
Well, that's the name.
That's on the podcast, by the way. Right there.
But
It's on the podcast.
SpongeBob song. He just doesn't have lyrics.
All right, so here, as we're writing this down, okay? What couple things that we need to know. Treatment is what I impose on the group, right? The control group is what the group that doesn't have any treatment imposed on them, okay? Now, explanatory variables. What are the explanatory variables?
Those are the things that affect the results of the study.
Correct, yeah. So those are things that explain the response of the SAT score, right?
Alright, is the explanatory variable the independent variable?
Yes, yes. And then the response is the dependent upon what happened with the treatment or the explanatory, okay? This next part is a little confusing. When we look at this, the factor is the amount of explanatory variables that are available. You might say, what are you talking about? Okay, so I have two, right? I have the no class or I have the class, okay? Now, in each of those, it's possible sometimes to have multiple levels that are there. You say, Coach, what do you mean? So it only has one level each, right? Each factor only has one level each. But sometimes, like if we did SAT course for 3 and 6 months, it would have one factor, well, two factors of no class and SAT course. But then the SAT course would have 2 levels of a 3-month and 6-month program. Am I making any sense right now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think so too. I agree. So if you were to, like right here, if you could go 2 ways, right? Class, no class, that's 2 what?
2
Factors. If in this you could then go to 2 levels of a 3-month and a 6-month course, this one factor has 2 different levels.
Oh, okay.
Where this one would only have 1 level.
Okay, the way you were saying it, I was just a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's better visually. It was confusing.
So it's like
Yeah.
split up your students into one learning from
Absolutely.
you and one learning from the
I'm sorry.
Can I hop on a ride?
Yeah, I drove last time, so I called.
All right, y'all, this was it. I hope you have a great day. AP Stat, it is what it do. Have a great time. We'll see y'all later.
I will be in like 2 months.
Holly, did you get it? Holly, are you good back?
I'll figure it out.
You guys all go to
Good,
school?
okay.
all get together and talk.
Yeah.
Grant, are you going? I'll probably go. I'm gonna try to get Kenny into a little lunch.
See y'all.